Welcome back everyone to more iRacing content here at Knee Pit Gaming. And today's race at Richmond has me extremely excited. The reason is because I saw AI behavior at Richmond that we haven't seen in any track we've done so far. In fact, we're going to spend today's entire race talking about that behavior, so much so that I consider it to be stage 2 in the development of the AI. Stage 1 are your basics. That's where you get them to follow a certain line, the fastest line around the track, make some basic passes, come into the pits, that kind of thing. Stage 2 is some behavior we're going to see at Richmond. And again, we'll get to that here in just a moment as we get the race started. But first, I do want to run through the setup for today's race. Most everything is the same as we've been using from week to week. We will be running 75 laps today. That's not a full fuel run. Full fuel run at Richmond is somewhere around 110 laps, but 75 laps is perfect to showcase the behavior that I want to showcase from the AI. We will have the car damage disabled due to some of the rather interesting behavior of the AI. We'll be using the Cup cars with a skill spread of 65% to 100%, and we will be starting dead last. So one of the things we'll have to do is try to work our way through the field as best we can. Okay, rolling starts. Now, we're not going to have any caution flags in today's race because that's not really what we're trying to showcase. And we'll be using the afternoon. So that takes care of the pre-race activities. Let's jump straight into the race. As we're headed into turns 3 and 4, now we do have 2 laps before we head to green here. Just like on most of the short tracks, you get 2 full laps before heading to green against the AI. So same thing here at Richmond. But as we move around, now you're going to notice in today's race that these guys do exhibit some of the same weird behaviors we've seen at other tracks. So that part will not be different. Hopefully that doesn't get us caught up in a crash. But what is really interesting about Richmond and what has made it the most fun so far to really learn about the AI behavior is that they do use different grooves. Now at the very beginning on new tires, I have found that everybody wants the bottom. So that part is no different than what we've seen at every other track. Now we are going to get the same accordion effect, start and stop behavior from the AI here at the start. So I'm hoping not to run over the back of the 78 as that happens.
Green flag, green flag.
One of the first things I'm going to do is try to get through some of these
Got one inside.
lap cars as quickly as possible. You can see a few of these guys have some really weird behavior.
Clear.
And that's kind of some of the things I'm trying to work on in the AI ratings to try to see if I can figure out what causes some of these behaviors, what makes it worse, and so on. So right now, we're just going to try to work through the back of the pack. We're going to try to move up as much as we can during this race, but pay particular attention.
Keep to the bottom.
There you see some of that weird behavior as these guys are almost coming to a stop on the straightaway for seemingly no reason most of the time. But pay attention to how they move around over the course of a run. Right now, early on, new tires, they want the bottom. So no surprise there. That's what you would expect with the behavior of the AI as they currently are in iRacing. But after about 25 laps or so, you're going to see that that changes some, and that will be the fun part. So that's really what I want to get to.
Outside. Still there. Stay on the bottom.
We're going to try to move through some of these guys at the back as much as we can
Clear outside.
here early on, because what I really want to show you guys
Got one outside.
is middle of the pack toward the front. I have no idea how far toward the front we'll be able to get.
Still there. Clear to the top.
But that's what we're about to find out.
Got one outside.
But again,
Still
even
there.
with the spread we're using and the max difficulty of the AI being at 100, you can see the back markers are still pretty slow here.
Stay low.
And I'm saying that because I know that I am definitely not fast at this place. And if I'm passing these guys
Got one outside.
this easily on new tires and I am not pushing the car,
Clear.
then I know they are off the pace.
Got one outside.
But again, right now you can see most everybody is running that same exact path where they get to the bottom in the corners.
Clear to the top. Got one outside.
Unless they're being passed or passing someone else. That changes things up a little bit, but other than that, they're running the same path.
Keep low.
So again, keep in mind lap 25.
Keep it up. Keep digging. You're in the top 20. Clear.
Lap 25 is really where we're looking forward to.
Stay on the bottom. Still there. Clear outside.
We got a lot of 3 wide.
Outside.
Seems like these guys are getting 3 wide a lot more at this track.
Clear outside.
And I can tell you that after I have spent some time this week
Got one outside.
on this track, practicing with the AI, and just simply, I've actually spent a lot more time just watching them. I've had them run full races just to see how they would behave.
Clear outside.
Once I noticed that they moved around during a run, I wanted to see what influenced them.
Still there.
Did the rubbering of the track, did that affect how they moved around any at all? And how did different ratings affect them
Keep low.
and where they chose to run on the track?
Clear outside.
You know, so there's a lot. Whenever you get AI that is this fun,
Outside. You're in the middle. 3 wide. Clear. Still there.
I was going to run over
Stay
the
low.
41 there. He was way off the
3
pace.
wide. You're the meat.
So you can see he's hanging out at the
Hold your
bottom
line.
right now and not even trying to get
Inside.
up the
Still
track
there.
really
Still
on the
there.
straightaways. So he's playing it extremely safe right now.
Clear inside.
In fact, you can see in our rearview mirror that he's still way down on the bottom, even in the straightaways. So even though the tires have started to lose some grip, now that we're past lap 10, of course it varies from track to track, but somewhere around 8 to 10 laps is normally what you can expect on new tires before you start to experience at least some fall off.
Inside.
Short tracks are going to be a little bit different,
Clear.
as opposed to the 1.5 miles we've been doing a lot of.
Outside. Clear to the top.
Let's see if we
Got one
can get
outside.
3
Down the
wide
bottom,
here and
3
actually
wide.
make it work.
Hold your line. Got one
They're
outside.
really going to
Still
hold
there.
me down here, which is good.
Stay on the
That's
bottom.
what I would expect them to do.
Stay on the bottom.
Being on the bottom of 3 wide is certainly not something I'd want to do for long periods of time, because that would destroy
Stay
our
low.
tires.
Keep digging. Keep low.
As far as the handling of my car, I've not spent a ton of time working on the setup for this track. Again, I've spent most of the time just trying to figure out what makes the AI do some of the different things they're doing at this track, and why don't they do it at other tracks? Because it would make it a lot more fun if they had some of these behaviors at other tracks as well. All right, so we're about 10 laps from these guys really starting to exhibit some of the behaviors that I wanted to show you guys. In the meantime, we have, oh wow, we're up to 13th. I hadn't even been paying attention to what position we were in. I was more worried about contact with the AI and missing some of these behaviors. So far, so good. Really don't want to get on the outside too much, especially right now. Deeper into a race, this is where it could be fun to run longer races, multiple green flag cycles, because they're going to lay a lot of rubber up in the higher grooves. Oh, easy now. One car doing kind of what that 41 car did
Inside.
earlier.
You're in the middle. 3 wide. Clear inside. Still there.
All right, I need one of these guys to try
Keep
to
to the
go
bottom.
I'm not sure who that's
3
going
wide.
to
You're the
be.
meat. Hold your line. Inside. Still there.
Both of them seem to be running off the
Keep it on
pace,
top.
considering we are very close to the top 10 right
Keep
now.
high. Clear.
All right, there you go. So everybody's getting spread out. In fact, really spread out here in the top 10. Fortunately, my car's not too bad right now. The biggest thing here at Richmond is you want to make sure that you can get off the corner good, that you can put the throttle down. If you can put the throttle down, you can make time here. But if you start spinning those rear tires coming off the corner, once the tires get worn out some, then you're in deep trouble. Because you can literally spin them the entire way down the front stretch if you're not careful. All right, here we go. We're finally getting close to that lap 25 mark. Because up until this point, they've basically acted the same as what we've seen at every other track, for the most part. All right, there you go, lap 22. You can see the 11 car has moved up a groove. Let's see if he continues to do that. Yep, that's exactly what he's done. So he moves up a groove, which I'm going to define the second groove here is around your left side tires, around that first lane marker there, the hash marks. We'll call that our second groove. So he's actually moved up there a couple of laps earlier than I thought. And that is going to make it very hard for us to get by him. Reason being, in the past, what we've seen at other tracks is that if we get positioned on these guys into the preferred groove, they will essentially just let us have it for the most part, unless it's a really aggressive driver or something like that. They'll just let us have it, and basically they'll be off the pace for a corner or two. We'll take the position and we'll move on. But here, now that he's running that groove, that's his preferred groove. So he's just going to run his normal speed, and we're going to have to pass him with him running his normal speed. And that changes everything when you're racing against these guys.
Outside. There's the stop.
So I'm going to have a real hard time getting by this guy. All right, fortunately, these guys in front of us are really fighting hard.
Stay low.
So that's going to give us an opportunity to maybe pick off a few guys here. Especially if they're all running the same grooves. And we have an opportunity to sort of pin them in against each other.
Clear.
Yeah, so far I just can't do anything with him. Because I don't have the turn through the center to maintain the speed necessary. So I'm going to see how this works out. I mean, we made it to the top 10. We're sitting just outside it. But you can see now 3 of the 4 guys in front of us have now moved up the track.
Outside.
Logano, yep, now he's moved up some too, trying to make this pass. But you get a lot of this side by side for a lot of laps, several laps.
Clear outside, stay low.
And that's exactly what you would expect, as these guys are running different grooves.
Stay low. Clear. Got one outside.
But right now, I'm just trying to see if there's any way I can roll a little bit better through the center and get by these guys.
Keep to the bottom.
Also interesting to see Bubba Wallace running this far forward, given that I know exactly what his ratings are. This is possible for him, but just not used to seeing him run quite this far up in the field. So good for them.
Stay low. Keep to the bottom.
But again, you can see Logano is trying to push Bubba Wallace up the track so he can get a little bit of room here. Oh, hello. Hello, we just got tagged.
Keep low. You're on the bottom, 3 wide.
All right, so I guess we'll start over again.
Still there. You're on the bottom.
We were doing good.
Got one outside. Still there.
Oh, look out. Okay, again, some more contact there. So, these are the moments that I do not enjoy against the AI, because they don't seem to care. That part, and that's also why I turn off the the damage.
Outside.
So that things like that, we can just simply move on from it and continue having fun. As long as it doesn't spin anybody out, everybody just continues on.
Clear to the top. Got one outside. Keep low. Still there.
Easy
Stay
now,
low.
easy. I'm trying to give you some room here.
Got one outside.
But again, this is where it gets fun against the AI. Some of the behavior
Stay on the bottom.
notwithstanding.
Clear to the top.
Because now you've noticed, okay, so we've got Bubba Wallace up ahead who is running the third groove. I'll call that third groove, with fourth groove being right up against the wall. And you can see, looks like the 24 is following him now. So here on the bottom, we're all by ourselves. And if I had a better car, and if I were a better driver, we've got all the room in the world to move by these guys. But yeah, there you see it. We've got Bubba Wallace and the 24 running the third groove. Looks like the 11 has stuck with the second groove. Let's see where the 1 goes. All right, the 1 looks like he's going to stick with the second groove. But the big thing is, in this group of 4 or 5 cars in front of us, none of the AI are running the bottom. And that has been what I have found. After about, again, around 25 laps, most of the AI will move up to that second group. About half of them, I would say.
Okay, we're halfway to the finish.
Then the other half, oh wow, we're halfway through. I've been enjoying the AI part of this so much I haven't been paying attention to what lap we're on. Once we hit lap 25 and these guys started moving around, laps no longer matter. And right now we have a front row seat to the behavior of these guys. All right, now they've got a lap car to get around. Let's see who's best at that. Now the lap car, Timmy Hill, looks to be running that second groove. So these guys are going to have to figure out, oh, that's me simply not paying attention. I was looking at the AI and at the racing they're doing, because look at this. This is 3 wide, borderline 4 wide in front of us. Sometimes I forget to drive my own car because I'm enjoying the show. So there's an easy 3 wide there. The 1 car has taken to the bottom.
Stay on the bottom. Clear outside. Got one outside. Stay on the bottom. Keep to the bottom. Clear to the top.
All right, so now we got side by side all over the place here. And again, I'm spending more time watching these guys than I am actually driving my own car.
Got one outside.
But you notice the 11 car is having a really hard time getting by the lap car of Timmy Hill.
Still there.
And that's because the 11 car has been forced out of his preferred groove. He's having to search around and figure out a way around. Whereas if any of these guys were running the bottom groove as their preferred groove, they would have easily gotten around Timmy Hill.
Clear. Got one outside. Clear.
All right, let's just fall in line here for just a moment.
Got one outside. Clear.
So being on the bottom of 2 and 3 wide has really taken its toll on the tires right now. So I'm trying to make do of it best I can. But I must admit, this could not have turned out any better because we've had a front row seat for some great racing with these guys in front of us. You can see it's calmed down. We've got the 11 and the 1 running that second groove. The 24 wants to get up into the third groove for his preferred groove, and this is the kind of thing I'm looking for from the AI, but I would prefer to see it at every track. Looks like the 48's got position over there.
Got one outside.
I believe he might actually be up in the third groove as well.
Outside.
When I peek at him.
Keep to the bottom. Still there.
But yeah, at this point, definitely need some more work on the setup and everything because I have roasted these tires.
Stay low.
So definitely need some help on my end, but all right, I see the 23, the 24.
Stay on the bottom.
Both right up on top. And again, I think the 48 is running that third groove as well.
Clear outside.
We got more lap traffic up here.
Got one outside.
All right, the 48.
To the bottom. Clear outside.
The 48 is just going to worry me to death. I was trying to keep him back there, but he was always right on my right rear corner. Oh yeah, really tight corner exit here. All right, looks like up ahead, you see the 47 car, and he's off the pace as well. But they're getting by him easier because he's running that third groove. And we already know that the 11 and the 1 prefer the second groove, so they got by him much easier. All right, so we got 25 laps left. And we are hanging around just outside the top 10. So 10th to 15th. We're not really getting any pressure from behind. So this is not too bad. We've ended up just outside the top 10, and I'll take that. Wasn't quite sure we were going to make it up that high. You can tell these guys are starting to pull away from me now as the tires are wearing. All right, the 23 having a lot more trouble getting around the lap car, and I expect the 48's probably going to be similar, again, because those guys were running the third groove, and that's exactly where the 47 is parked right now. So you can see they're trying their hardest to push him up the track so that they can get into their preferred groove, and it looks like they have finally done it. I have seen some cars get pushed into the fourth groove up by the wall. Cars in the position of the 47 right now.
That car is not a lead lap car.
Oh, look at that. You can tell I have used up my stuff getting to the top 10 to 15. Oh, look out, 47 locking them up there on corner entry. You don't see that much.
Got one outside. Clear outside.
All right, now the question is, can I get by the 47?
Got one outside. Keep to the bottom. Keep low.
It's definitely not his groove that I'm interested in.
Stay on the bottom. Clear outside. Got one outside.
As you can see, he is not giving up because he's in his preferred groove.
Stay low.
But yeah, if we could just have just this AI at every track now, that would be a huge improvement over what we've been seeing at the other tracks. Simply by the AI moving around. And again, just look ahead of us. You've got the 23 car up there who's running that third groove. We got the 48 that looks like he has settled into the second groove. And then we have to work our way through the traffic and see if we can figure out how to get by him. So at this point, I'm basically having to bring the car to a full stop in the center of the corner just to get it to turn. So 75 laps is not a full fuel run. Full fuel run here is something along the lines of like 110 laps or so, I think. Maybe a little more than that. I can't remember exactly. But this has definitely shown what I wanted to show today. And it looks like we got a lot of traffic up in front of us. Most of that, of course, is probably going to be lap traffic. I'm trying to see if I can gauge who all it is up there. But again, you can see a lot of side-by-side racing up there that just continues lap after lap. How long it continues depends on which groove is preferred by the cars involved. Even lap cars can hold their own if they're allowed to stay in their preferred groove, and the lead lap car is forced to get out of their preferred groove. And that is something that has been so much more fun for me. Oh wow, 24 looked like he got way high. And again, hopefully you guys can forgive me. I am spending a lot less time driving my car than I am actually watching the action in front of us. Because of course, after all, that is really the point of these videos, is to, oh, look out, is to get a glimpse of the AI, see how they behave over a full fuel run, or pretty close anyway. Alright, so we're sitting here in 13th, and I feel like I am basically coming to a stop every center of the corner just to get the car to turn, and yet here we are. Max strength of the AI is on 100, and we're sitting here running just outside the top 10, and these guys in front of us, about 3, 4, 5 cars on the lead lap in front of us, are not really pulling away a ton from us. Because of the lap traffic, we're able to hang in there with them pretty good. They get away from me a little bit, and then I'm able to pull right back on them, especially now that we're in some lap traffic more heavily. And of course, as you can imagine, the more laps you run, the deeper that's going to get. Alright, now we've got a couple of lap cars in front of us that are actually running the bottom. But that's really going to mess us up.
Lap to go.
And it's going to allow us to feel what these other guys are feeling. Oh, look out. Hello. Car just took off there. But yeah, you can see them. That's the 38. Who else is up there? 37. And Bubba Wallace right now is trying his best to get by them. But he's moved out of his groove, which they were giving to him. If he would have been just a little more patient, he would have been fine and just stayed up in his groove. Because he's been running the third groove. Alright, now I'm trying to figure out where do I go in order to try to make a pass.
Outside.
Oh, wow.
Keep to the bottom. Clear outside.
Bubba just drove it in there that time. And really just sort of forced his way in.
Got one outside.
A little bit of a slide job there from Bubba Wallace. But again, he's at... Alright, come on.
Keep to the bottom.
Here. Oh, seriously?
Clear outside. Got one outside. That car is not a lead lap car. Keep to the bottom.
So the 37 didn't give me a whole lot of room there. He had a good bit of room, as far as I could tell anyway, between him and the wall. But he was not having any of it. So again, you can see these guys. The 42 gets by us. And he is running, where's he running? Oh yeah, he's running up in that third groove.
Outside.
That's what I wanted to see.
Stay on the bottom. Still there.
All right, so we got about 5 more laps.
Clear.
That's a good thing too, because again, I
Got one outside.
pretty much toasted the tires just trying to come through
Clear.
the
5 to
field.
go.
Yeah, look at the 42. Go from the bottom all the way to the top.
Inside. Stay high. Stay high.
But again, you can see the 17 did not go to the bottom there. He's trying to push me up
Keep it on
the
top.
track as much as he can because he wants that second groove if he
Clear
can
to the
get
bottom.
it. So he's basically trying to force me to give it to him. And he won. I gave it to him. Mostly because at this point in the run, I have no speed to carry on with him. At this point, we're just trying to bring it home,
2 to go.
wherever that means in the running order. And we'll worry about setup and all that later on. All right, so once again, what do you got? 3 wide in front of us. This is what I need to see from the AI at
Outside.
every track. Look at these guys racing.
Keep low.
We have a front row seat to this.
Clear outside. White flag. 1 more lap to go. Got one outside.
But
That
you've
car
got
is
2
not a
wide
lead lap
racing
car.
pretty
Stay
much
low.
on the regular. And then 3 wide is
Stay on the
not
bottom.
out of the question.
Stop.
We've seen a good bit of that. All right, mercifully, we've got
Got
the
one
white flag.
outside.
Mercifully for us, anyway.
Keep low. Clear to the top. Outside.
Oh, hello.
You're in the
That was
middle.
good.
3 wide.
Yeah, we had a good
Inside.
entry
Still
there.
there.
That was great.
Still there. Clear to the bottom.
All right, coming to the checkered flag. That was fun. That was a lot of
That's
fun.
the checkered flag.
We got to see some great racing. Unfortunately,
We'll get them next time.
I didn't quite get the finish that I was looking for. There toward the end, we fell off quite a bit, but that was the best showcase I've seen of the AI racing to this point so far of any of the tracks that we have been to. That is the kind of racing I am hoping that eventually we can get at every track. Now, granted, it's not perfect. It's anything but perfect at this point, but that would be a huge step forward if we can allow the AI to simply use the multiple grooves over the course of a run. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's race. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more iRacing here at NPIC Gaming.